of the UN to uphold what their role should be in the international community. Also, we'll briefly look at the the 2020 statement that has been supported by several in different quarters. The statement that actually identify that Christians are being killed, they are being persecuted in Nigeria, and we all know that the attempt there is to Islamize and to also Fulanize Nigeria. So without spending much time, I will also like to welcome our brother, Citizen AY. Thank you, Citizen AY, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So again, to go back to the question of insurgents who are such as Boko Haram and ISIS and Al Qaeda. Mr. Faleti, can you please, if you can, maybe enlighten us or give us your perspective with regards to, what has truly been the impact of the presence of these insurgents on the indigenous people, and how much, can we take, from what is going on here? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Modupe, and the listening audience from here and abroad. It's one thing for your government to be oppressing you as citizens. It's another thing to import militias to do it. The import of militias to continue the atrocities that the head of government started is a clear manifestation of the intent of the government to really do it, rather than a resultant outpost of a policy. The impact, it's beyond what words can describe, because essentially it was the DSS that was perpetrating the atrocities at a local level, but with the importation of the insurgents by somebody that was supposedly duly elected by the people in the person of, if I can use the term, and I believe I can use the term because of how I feel about it, the terrorist president, Buhari, that we have, okay, he was the one that brought in the insurgents purposefully to destabilize the government in 2015 if he didn't win the election. Since the importation of those insurgents, neither have the North nor the South, and more so the South, enjoyed peace in the country. It's gone to such an extent that neither the government nor the government apparatus has any control over the security apparatus of the nation. I think the word security apparatus is an oxymoron in and of itself, because the insurgents that were brought in have been brought in with much better equipment. I'm talking about military-style equipment than the local law enforcement agency, to the extent that the local law enforcement agencies are being slaughtered and therefore could not respond to the calls of the citizens when they are attacked by the insurgents. What makes it so bad is that rather than call the insurgents the real names that they are, terrorists, the president tells President Buhari tells the outside world that these are not terrorists, these are bandits fighting for their economic survival, to the extent that the unknowing global community turns a blind eye to the problem, rather than see the problem as a potential global terrorism that needed to be curtailed immediately before it spread beyond the borders of Nigeria. So to summarize that, the effects of those insurgency is that it has exacerbated the problem of local insecurity in the geographical land contraption called Nigeria, but over and above, beyond the borders of Nigeria, and potentially into the global community as time goes on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for for that very impassioned enlightenment. So yes, you did mention something which I think is very, very important, and I want Dr. Kayari to please help us shed some more light on this. When Mr. Faleti mentioned that that the use of the word bandits rather than branding these people as the terrorists that they are, even the Nigerian government has refused to even proscribe the Mieti Allah and all these organizations who have come out, who have come out openly to say that they were responsible for certain attacks. But Dr. Kayari, so what is it? I mean, we know that that the government have been looking the other way, but we know that they are not just looking the other way, just because they want to do so. But is it something that you think that our people should know specifically about these actions, about these kinds of behaviors, on the part of the Nigerian government?
Thank you, Dr. Modupe, for this opportunity to contribute to this, what I would say, deliberate misinformation and deliberate propaganda and deceit by the government of Buhari. It is very obvious that there's a deliberate, distortion of
we
facts.
know that that the government have been looking the other way, but we
to say that first, of course, as the last speaker said, the security report clearly indicate that the current government was responsible for importing these mercenaries, and they know they're not bandits. When you call them bandits, it's a question of semantics. You're trying to kind of deceive the world. It's trying to kind of reduce the effect or the potency and the danger of this kind of group. They're not bandits. They're not thieves. They're not just trying to survive. These are terrorists. I mean, there is research that has shown that actually, for example, the Fulani jihadists are actually more deadly than Boko Haram. Because as you see, Boko Haram has been the one, his focus. And on one hand, when IPOB came up, they were proscribed straight away as an invasion of the East. On the other hand, calling this bandits, they're not terrorists. There's a lot of clamor to brand them terrorists, but the government deliberately would not brand them terrorists because, one, they are their foot soldiers. Two, there's a way to deceive the international community to say these are not terrorists, these are bandits. But all the indications, all the indices, and the strategies, dissemination of communities, distraction, it's actually worse than what Boko Haram did in terms of the number of killings and the amount of lands they've taken from people. Now, so that, gave them room, to be able to carry out a dastardly act. And like I said, they are their foot soldiers. They are doing their own work. So, some of us call it without any reservation. It's a state-sponsored terror. So the state had to, when you deceive, you have to keep lying to cover up your tracks. And what the state is trying to do is to say, look, we have no hand in this. But it's a clear indication that, well, if it's true, which is not, that the state hasn't got a hand, it shows that the state has lost control. These people have machine guns, not just AK-47. First, the government justified them because they were protecting themselves. Okay, so on one hand, they can carry out AK-47, and any other person could be disarmed or be arrested and prosecuted if they had any arms, even ordinary machete in their homes. And so empowering the terrorists, and also the second thing is to delay calling them terrorists. Okay, and they had to go to court to get get a court judgment to call them terrorists, which took years, probably 5-6 years to do that. And even then, even though they did declare them terrorists after declaring IPOB and proscribing IPOB, they, up to today, the narrative is they're bandits, they're kidnappers, but we know that they're terrorists. And so it's a deliberate deceit, deliberate ploy. It's a plan, it's a grand design, so that people will be deceived and believe that they're just bandits. And this has caused a lot of havoc and division even amongst some ethnic nationalities. As I'm speaking to you, Dr. Madiba and the other people in the panel, some ethnic nationalities up to today who are supposed to understand that these are terrorists think they're not, they're bandits. So I will pause here, but the impact is terrible. The deceit is unprecedented and globally, and especially in the international community. Thank you.
Dr. Mudukwe, may I chip in at all?
Yes, go ahead. Yes,
okay.
Go ahead.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Citizen AY here. I'd like to say good evening to Dr. Kiari, Jean, our friend Chudi Udeokolie, Ngozi Orabueze, Ogaraku Alagba, Stephen Faliti, and others. Sola Intel, David Ogundolie, Dupe, Mrs. Dupe, Mrs. Dr. Adebayo, sorry. So I want to say good evening to you all. Now, I need you all to really look at something. This is the copybook of the colonials. This is the copybook exact plan of what the colonials did. Remember in the books when they were carrying out all of these wars across Africa, what did they call them? They called them expeditions. And it's a way to disarm you. So I was reading when I was in school, I was reading the books, expedition to the Benin expedition, the whatever, all over Africa, it was expeditions. So when you read that, you didn't pick up the danger signs of, whoa, this is actually war. It's the same technique here. They changed the word. They refused to use the word, they use the actual word terrorist. So they insist on bandits. These are psychologically, subtly lowering our guard. And they use those words time and time again. Again, they get the copybook of the colonials. The colonials are teaching these guys step by step what is happening. We should not, under any circumstances, be looking to see any support or any help from those who are supporting these Fulanese. And we have to call them what they are. They are terrorists. That is what they are. They are using many disguises. Dr. Kiari said something. They said before they even proscribed them as terrorists, it took years. All of it is to make that process difficult to achieve the ultimate aim of naming them who they were. And even when they are even labeled as terrorists, they are still, the government will use the words they choose to use, which is bandit. And because they have a lot of influence in terms of their powers, the illegally gotten powers, the people tend to listen more to the words bandit from the government, even as they are being killed. So we are being brainwashed constantly by the entire system. I honestly, at this point, yes, we should say shame on the international world, because they are pretending as though, how can you come up with a statement that states that, the UN says we should integrate with those who are killing us? What planet are you on? We are telling you that the terrorists that they choose to call bandits are killing us. And your solution is for us to integrate with these same people? We shouldn't be having discussions. The solution to our problem does not lie in the UN. I'm being very, very real here. We have to be honest. The only people that can solve this problem that we face is ourselves by working together within our communities. I'm talking about Middle Belt,
You're mute.
South Belt, you know. So please, I urge you all. I don't want to talk too much, say much more. I'll just stop. I really want to cut to the thrust of what's going on. And we have to be, time is of the essence. What steps are we going to take? Forget waiting for the UN. I can tell you when a UN says we should integrate with the very people who are killing us, that means they actually want to be, they are subtly accepting, joining in the killings and the slaughter of the indigenous people in our land. We cannot fold our arms and watch. We need to take action. We have the right to self-determination. And I want to take this opportunity to urge everyone, that constitution is a fraud based on the fact that we, the people, did not put our seal of approval on that constitution. There is no evidence of that. That alone should motivate us to go for self-determination. And I urge us, the time now, yes, we can mention about the UN, but the real steps to save our lives is down to you and I, and the awareness that we raise in each and every community. That is the step we must take. I'll stop there for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother. I could actually feel the passion, even right here where I'm sitting. You actually touched on, and that was very, very, that was very, very brilliant analysis that you did. And you actually touched on something else, which we'll come back to later, the word self-determination, but we'll come to that. But before we get to the self-determination part of this discussion, I want us to take just a little moment, to talk about the deliberate distortion of the fact that the people who are being called bandits are actually terrorists, and then pushing that narrative internationally to the international community, where Antonio Guterres, who is the current Secretary General of the UN, recently talked about integrating. Yes, Secretary General, talking about integrating foreign Fulanis with the natives in Nigeria. So that in itself, it's so. I'm telling you, I want Honorable Ogaraku to please help us, address what is your perspective on this, because to me, I know that you cannot tell the US to now to integrate with members of ISIS. It's not even going to happen. Come on now. You can't tell US, to be, to somehow find a space, in the US, in the state or in a region in US, to settle members of,
Dr. Dukwe, there's some voice distortion.
So, and asking us,
Dr. Dukwe.
Oh, yes, we should integrate with these people who's at.
Sorry, Dr. Dukwe,
hello?
Your voice is a little
Dr.
Dukwe,
there's a voice distortion. Yes. I don't know if it's your Bluetooth.
Okay, I think, okay, so, but is it better now?
Yeah.
Is it better? It's better now? Okay, yeah, because I'm using my phone today. I don't have my computer. So as I was saying, and thank you for that. I'm not sure which part you heard from what I said, but I want Mr. Ogaraku to please help us to understand why Mr. Guterres will even propose this when we know that the UN, like something like this will not even be considered. It will not even make it to the. It will not even make it to the table. And I made an example, like for example, telling the US to find a space in the a space in some region in a state in America, to settle Al Qaeda or ISIS. It's not going to happen. So, but why are they telling us to do this?
Okay.
Mr. Ogaraku, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all the listeners. Hello?
Hello? Yes, go ahead. I'm going to mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the semester is going to an end.
Everybody mute your lines, please. Mute your lines.
When I saw that they were doing commencement, I said, oh, so the semester for this.
Thank you very much.
Done.
You see, there is a saying that says when lies are repeated most time, it looks like truth. And that's one of the reasons why what we do today is important, that the truth should be said so as to counter the lies. Most people in different offices, even though there are protocols on what they should know, what they should say, sometimes are easily influenced by fake news. Most time when it is being perpetuated by the institution that's supposed to say or respect certain protocols. And when I say some institutions, or good institutions need to follow, usually most have to follow protocols in what they know. If in our own system in Nigeria, where the institutions that are supposed to protect you are those ones who are perpetuating these evil ideas, what would they tell the nation? And what would they tell the office? What they see through the protocol is as if to say this is the right idea. So I think the Secretary General was very much wrong. I never expected this from somebody of that office. I think he's supposed to have known more about the situations in Nigeria and should have known the source of suffering true citizens of this country. Saying that we should integrate terrorists, bandits, as a way of resolution is like proposing the evil as if to say that what's good for Nigeria. Just like somebody rightly said, how many times has America integrated the terrorists that
ISIS and Al Qaeda, yes.
Al Qaeda and all the groups that are working against the security in America. However, anybody heard of that? Can he make the same proposal to countries like that? Has France integrated any of those notorious terrorist groups that comes in from time to time? Why should Nigeria be an example? That simple means that, unfortunately, even when some people who are occupying some of these important offices may not necessarily be Europeans, they are still coded. They sometimes they don't respect realities. So it is wrong to say such a thing. And then I want us to continue forums like this and that to continue to say the truth so that we should counter some of these impressions and the information that are being distributed here and there. That is not true. It's wrong. It's not acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ogaraku. I'm not sure who else wants to chime in on this before we move on to the next, the topic on self-determination. Is there anybody? Yes.
Yes, Dr. Modupe. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Go ahead. Okay. Dr. Karaya.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, just like you rightly said, that narrative was sold to them by Buhari himself. I don't know if you may recall a couple of years ago when Benue State was under constant killings, threats by Miyetti Allah. They were threatening and carry out the threat. Even the life of the governor was completely at risk. Did you hear what Buhari said? Go back and live in peace with your people. Each time the governor of Benue State says to them, goes to say, look, this is one of your people, they're killing us. This is his statement. Go back and live in peace with your people. Now, it's the same narrative, okay? So as far as Buhari is concerned, so they have managed to sell that narrative to the United Nations that, look, it's a conflict. Remember, that's the narrative. So when you say integrate, it means it's a conflict, trying to live in peace with them. So, which is quite sad. And they have bought that, wicked, cruel, okay? If you don't permit me to use demonic, deceit from the government, it's totally sold. And I don't know why the United Nations is not independent enough or intelligent enough to see. I have not cared to read about the background of the United Nations, but look, as you can see that all the United Nations support, it's
Yes.
That's genocide going on, and you're saying integrate with the people who want to exterminate, who want to completely wipe you out. Go integrate with them. I think this forum could write him officially and publish it globally that he needs to apologize to the people, the indigenous people of Nigeria.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is an absolute fact. And Citizen AY, you remember we were talking about that earlier.
Yes,
can you chime in on that, please?
Yes. No, yes. Okay, what? Okay, is it? Let me. Okay, Dr. Farity. Okay, go ahead, sir. I didn't want to say something. Go ahead, sir. I'll let you go ahead. And I'll
thank you very much. Thank you. I wanted to share your sentiment on why we should not rely on the United Nations as a solution for self-determination. Mm-hmm. As much as we all wholeheartedly resent the Fulani atrocities, we should not lose track of the proxy position that the Fulani holds in these whole atrocities, that it's the complicity of the British government to continue to perpetuate its colonization by proxy that allows the Fulani hegemony and the resultant atrocities to prosper. Now, you should not be surprised if you privy to history why the Secretary General could make such an atrocious statement. He has to. One of the permanent members of the United Nations is Great Britain. Okay, Great Britain has a dual interest in suppressing the self-determination so that the shame of its colonization history does not come out. About 75 years ago, the United Nations, by a stroke of the pen, created the State of Israel, May 14, 1948, I believe it is. Excuse my math.
Yes.
The Great Britain acquiesced to the vote for one and one reason only: to suppress its atrocities to the children of Israel back in the days, because of the British Inquisition that is being taken out of history. So when you look at the trail of the British atrocities, it's not very commendable at all. So it will do any and everything. The permanent members of the United Nations, they have a deciding vote and the influence on who becomes Secretary General. So he has to tote whatever the United Kingdom put on his plate. It's not surprising. Somebody in my other group had mentioned that the Fulanis are outsmarting us. Nothing could be further from the truth. Yes, I'm saying it with boldness. They are one of the dumbest tribes that I've seen in the whole world. And if that is not true, why in all the years that we've been going to school, we had to score 75% as a passing grade? They came into power, had to reduce the passing grade of those in their sector to 25%. That's a clear admission that you are much more cognitively challenged than we are giving you credit for. It's the British that put them in power that are trying to do everything to put them in power so that those of us smarties in the South with our eyes open that are too smart to be manipulated by the British cannot come into the power through a self-determination. And you have to also realize that the United States is only a young brother to the United Kingdom. Unless, of course, there is a bloodbath. Now, you wonder why they have to wait for a bloodbath. Because if they don't do anything until there's a bloodbath and the bloodbath comes in, then, of course, it becomes China and, more importantly, Russia will come into the rescue, and they are trying to protect their own economic interest by not Russia coming. That's the only reason. Otherwise, they could care less if we kill each other. So we shouldn't lose track of the complicity of British. If you take British out of the picture, believe me, we can handle the Fulanis on our own. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Faleti. And I just want to emphasize quickly that the terrorists, the Fulanis, are not natives. They are not indigenous to Nigeria. So actually, their history is as recent as late 1700s, early 1800s. So yes, so they are not indigenous to Nigeria. So it beats me, that the UN that is supposed to support, the indigenes are now supporting foreigners on somebody else's land. And we know that this is not, this really is not the position that the UN should be taking. But like Mr. Faleti rightly said, that that it has the hands of the British there, and that's why Mr. Guterres is doing their bidding. And also at the same time, because of the relations of the U.S. to Britain, we really cannot remove that kind of family ties, involvement from the whole thing. Yeah. But again, we are not asking them. We're not begging them to come to our rescue. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is that, we know that now, that we have to take care of ourselves. That we have to take care of ourselves but one thing that we know is that we're not giving up our land. And so utterances like the one from Mr. Guterres, we need to come out, and we need, just like Dr. Kayari said, we need to publicly, condemn it and ask him for an apology. And you know what? You couldn't have made a better example when you said that, when you said that someone denied Holocaust never happened.
Yeah.
People who are killing us, all those kinds of horrendous things to our people. You are saying that we should somehow find a way to live with them. How can we live with them? It's not even possible. But I will let you
Citizen
my brother, I know you're about to say this, I'll just let you.
Citizen, please give me one minute, please. Just 1 minute. I just wanted to bring something in, just to show the idiocy and the hypocrisy of the Secretary General's comment that we should integrate the terrorists. Tell me how many Al-Qaedas that participated in the 9/11 did the United States integrate? Number one. Very recently in the United Kingdom, a Yoruba man by the name of Adeyinka grandson was sent to 4 years in prison just for his comments. He was charged with terrorism. Why did they send him to prison? Why didn't they just integrate him?
Exactly. Very good point.
What do you think? Thank you, sir.
Very good point. That is such a powerful point. Now, I wanted to go on and say there's two things I'm going to answer. Firstly, I'm going to talk about, I'll take us back a little bit. A little bit is in the sense of the issue of the divide and rule technique. It is very much in operation here. Now, the British and the colonials, we all know that they came over Africa and carved everything up. They totally just carved it up. So what they are doing is using what they see as the battering ram to weaken the stronger force and ultimately get their goal. possession and control of the land. This is really about the land. And we have to be very, very, very clear that they have this is a clear strategy that they followed. They reluctantly had to acquiesce in terms of so-called, quote unquote, give us independence. But that was just, a visual thing. In reality, their claws are still very much in our resources today. Again, land and resources is what this is about. If we all look at what is happening with the Ukraine war and everything else, no oil, no gas. Where is the oil? Where is the gas? We have both. We have both. I want us to really think about, we have both. And I want also to, at this point, there is a pipeline that's been done across the west, from the west coast of Africa, right up to Morocco, that's going to feed into Spain for gas pipeline.
Wow.
How do we know that an oil pipeline is not also being put in the same place? So these are things we need to be very, very, I'll get the report out. There is a gas pipeline that they've made a memorandum of understanding between Nigeria and all the countries all the way up to Morocco, and then it will feed into Spain. This is what we are looking at. So many of us.
This is such an eye-opening.
Look, the claws are in so deep that we need to do a twin track approach. Number one, we have to, I agree with Dr. Kyari, a strong statement. Now, and I also like what Dr. Modupe said there. We're not expecting them to help us, but we want to make a point, a line in the sand, and put it there. At this point, at this date, Mr. Gutierrez says, the UN Secretary said this. We, the people, repudiated it, we condemned him, and we're demanding an apology. Imagine if somebody makes any anti-Semitic claims against the Israelis. They will make a claim, and everybody, the UN will come and ask you to, the ton of pressure comes on you. But our lives don't mean anything. These are the steps we need to take from that point of view. So I see what you're saying. So the twin track approach is this. Yes, we write a report. We get the team together to write a very strong report, repudiate, demand an apology, but we at the same time make sure that our focus is on where we're going, that independence. That is the most important thing that I would say here. So there is a twin track approach we need to adopt, but it needs our unity. Again, I stated, Middle Belt, Southwest, Middle Belt and the South, and Ambazonians as well, because they are part of all of this struggle. Remember, the colonials carved up the whole of of Africa along the lines of the territory control, 1884 Berlin Conference, treaties, and all of this stuff among themselves, cutting us up. So they're not interested in whether or not Fulanis hold the land or not. They want the resources. And one thing I want to add, it is interesting that the UK are telling us to integrate. I will make one more thing about that. The UN are telling us to integrate with the terrorists who are killing us. Why didn't they tell the Ukrainians that with the Russians? Why?
Wow.
I'm just wondering.
That's another question. Very good.
I'm just wondering that. So I wanted to just put that in the mix. And finally, what we must, above all else, do, we must realize that unless we stand together, and our power lies in our strength lies in our unity across those regions I've mentioned, the Middle Belt, Southwest, and the South, and the Amazonia, that we have to unite in going for and speaking truth to power for our self-determination. We already know that constitution is a fraud that the UK government is backing. The UK on the 23rd of June 2016, they voted to leave the EU, and the government listened to the voice of the people. Our voice as people has been continually silenced, even in the face of the fact that there is no evidence of the people voting via a referendum to accept this fraudulent constitution. So there is a lot of work for us all to do. We need that unity. We need to talk among ourselves. There are things we need to say in the open. There are things we need to say in the back. But what must happen is we must be resolute in achieving our ultimate goal, self-determination. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, my brother. Actually, I'm going to segue into the discussion, but before I do that, I want to welcome My sister, can you hear me? Dr. Ngozi Orabueze. Thank you, Dr. Ngozi, for joining us.
Thank you.
Dr. Ngozi, we know that one of the things that we're talking, welcome, my sister. So one of the things that we usually talk about is that, we're asking the UN, we're not asking them to come to our rescue. We are telling them to UN, UK, US, please stop supporting the terrorists. By giving them arms, by doing armed deals with them, what you're doing is that you're supporting them, indigenous people in Nigeria. So Dr. Ngozi, we know that recently there was the $1 billion sale of arms, deal between Nigeria, between the US and Nigeria. And, and we talked about it, you and I talked about, and with other people here, we talked about it, about this in length, and how and what we can do, to ensure that this does not that the arm deals does not go through, because we know who those arms are going to be used for, right? Even though Buhari has lied to them that is going to use the arms and the ammunition, to fight terrorists. So who are they going to use those arms on? On our people. And that's why, it is a duty, for us, everyone here, to make sure that does not happen, because you know what? Because if we keep quiet and those arms get inside of, get onto the arms of those onto the ends of the terrorists in Nigeria, it's our people that will suffer. So, Dr. Ngozi, can you chime in on this briefly?
All right. Good day, everybody. Thank you so much, Dr. Modupe, and I thank all the previous speakers. I think we are all doing the right thing to bring awareness to our community and to the world on what is going on. And what we are doing really impacts. It makes a lot of good impact. Sometimes we think that we're not making that impact, but we must continue to talk, because what we do. Sorry. Can you hear? Sorry, is somebody saying something?
Go ahead. No, that was somebody talking offline. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Like I was saying, what we are doing impacts positively, whether we know, we agree, or we do not. And that's why we have to continue to talk. Because sometimes, like Dr. Modupe said, you think these people, they know. No, they don't know. And remember that I heard one of the speakers said the Fulanese. Yes, in some extent, we can say the Fulanese are really dumb. But I can tell you, those of them that are really in the forefront of this plan of keeping Nigeria where it is today, they are not really that, they're not dumb. They are pretty, very, very smart people that have used their power, the power of me and you, Nigerian money, to make sure they position their people in all the most of the strategic positions in the world, not just in Nigeria. They've also, those where they cannot be able to penetrate or put people in positions, they've used my and your money, Nigerian money, to buy some of these leaders over. So with money, just follow the money and you will know why people are doing what they are doing. Follow the money and you will see why people are saying what they're saying. So the Nigerian, the United Nations that came to Nigeria was talking about reintegration and the same policy that Nigeria government is doing. He backs it up. Again, follow the money, follow the religion, sometimes follow the tribe, the religion, and you will see why people say what they say, regardless of who is involved. And I heard the other person, one of the speakers, honorable speaker, said that it is in our hands to liberate ourselves, liberate Nigeria, liberate Nigerian citizens from what is going on. It is in our hands. Nobody can do that for us. We all are privy to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Who is coming into, even thousands of Ukrainians are being killed. Who is stopping the killing every day? Nobody. So at the end of the day, it is going to be in our hands. Like I heard one of the speakers say, we have to issue a publication condemning that guy and let that publication go viral. These are some of the things we have to do. Coming to what you said, Dr. Dugbe, yes, the US signed I think, $10 billion deal for supplying weapons to Nigerians. And again, when we see things like that happen, despite some of the informations that have been passed out in the past, even to the US, to the United Kingdom and all that, and we still see some things like this being happen. It is our part. It is our position. We are the one that have to start hitting those people that are doing those things, start creating the awareness, start publicizing, start telling them that what they are going to do, these are the implications of what they are going to do. So requesting for more arms is closely tied to this reintegration and rehabilitation of terrorists inside Nigeria. That is a policy by President Buhari. So when these arms come into the Nigerian system, into the Nigerian environment, these arms are going to end up in the hand of terrorists, regardless of how you rehabilitate, reintegrate, and remodel them and all that. The arms are still going to end up in the hand of the terrorists. And what are these people going to use their arms to do? In most cases, they might attack, maybe it might go religious line, it might go tribal line, there might be some sympathy when they want to kill some people and when they want to leave some people. We cannot continue to function and stay in a country where things are going this way. That is why we must all keep doing our little own way. We don't have to do so many, just a little we do. It adds up to make sure that Nigerians are free from this chaos going on. And people, we are just begging to leave inside that country because the policies already created by the leaders has made it mandatory and has made it easy to kill almost all of us. So we all have to do our own little part in our own little way to make sure that we all don't just die off. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my sister. You know, to just add to what you said, you know, and I know Jean just flagged just a little while ago. International Criminal Court they investigated Nigeria for war crimes, and I believe it must have been maybe in 2018 or something like, or maybe later than that. That there was a pronouncement that Nigerian government, actually the Nigerian military, has committed crime against humanity that actually up to the level of war crimes. So if the UN or if the
2020. End of 2020.
2020, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. So if they know that, and that pronouncement actually came from ICC, actually came from the international community, why would they even be thinking? Those are the things that we need to. Those are the things that we need to spotlight. That we need to address every time that we speak. We need to put it out there that, hey, we know. I mean, we know what you're doing, and we are not, and definitely we are not going to be quiet about this. But thank you for for commenting on that and for giving us your perspective, Dr. Ngozi. So to now go to the last item, because today is a very short. We have a very short discussion, forum today. We'll talk about the self-determination, and I know that my brother Ayo brought that up. Brother Ayo, if you can lead us on that specifically, what are some of the things that we can do? Well, actually, before you speak, it is the only option for us right now, because we know that the current administration under Muhammadu Buhari refused to implement, provisions of a constitutional conference where the union was supposed to be renegotiated, and each member of each representative from each region were participated in that forum, and they came up with a report. But guess what? When Buhari came in 2015, he refused to implement the provisions of the Constitutional Conference. So what he did was to adopt a decree number 24, which is the 1999 Constitution, and we know the reason why he adopted that. He adopted that because it's the only tool or the machinery that they can use to accomplish their Fulani agenda. And the Fulani agenda is to Fulanize and to Islamize Nigeria. And we see that in the 12 core northern states that are currently operating under Sharia law, which is even a violation of what is in their fraudulent constitution in the first place. Then recently, they did a constitutional amendment. They did some, what we call sham. I'll call it a sham of amendments to the constitution. But what they did was to even make things worse. By now centralizing, even local governments now will be reporting to the center, and then they now redefine what the process will be for both foreign individuals to have citizenship in Nigeria. All of this gave the people, the indigenous, the natives in Nigeria, gave us no other option but to seek self-determination. So speaking of self-determination, what are some of the things that, starting with Brother Ayo, what are some of the things that we can do on our part to kind of make sure that the self-determination is achieved, because it is the only option that we have, unless we want to be led to the slaughterhouse, and we don't want to do that. And so, speaking of the self-determination, what can you say with regards to the upcoming 2023 election, and what can we do to make sure that that we don't lose our land and we don't lose our lives?
Sorry, 1 minute, 1 second.
Are you there?
I am here. I'm here. Yes. Sorry, 1 second.
It's probably not. Oh.
I am.
All right. Since Citizen AY is not responding, maybe I can have.
I'm here.
Doctor.
I'm
here.
Here.
You're here. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. So.
Okay. Go ahead.
Very good question. So I was trying to answer you, but I forgot that I muted myself. Very, very good question that you asked there. So the question is, what can we do in terms of the self-determination vis-a-vis people speaking up or taking steps to address the current situation of the 2023. And speak on this self-determination. The first thing that I want us to really look at, and I'm going to keep saying it on all my broadcasts, I say it every day now, we need vigilante groups. And we need to make the awareness for our people as to why we need to have vigilante groups. If you are not in a community, you cannot begin to take the steps for self-determination in that community. If you get swept out of the community, it's often very difficult. So the first thing that we need to do is to secure our people in their land, come what may. That must be our top priority. Because then when you're in that community, then we can now begin now to talk about the steps to take in terms of referendum, self-determination. That's the very foundation. And that is really...
So my brother, if I heard you correctly, you are not, and perform acts of violence. What we're saying is that you should defend yourself. What we're saying is defend yourself. There is no law against defending yourself.
Thank you.
Right? That's exactly what my brother is saying. Go ahead.
So that is we have the inalienable right to self-determination. Everybody, the indigenous, and we the indigenous people to whom the land belongs from our ancestors, we have the inalienable right to self-determination, and that we guarantee. Nobody else can guarantee for ourselves but ourselves. That means we defend ourselves in our land. We're not saying we go out and attack anybody. That's not what we're saying. We're saying we defend and protect, because without that, if we're not able to defend ourselves in our own land, we don't have anything to protect. And their object is to take it away from us. Very, very important. Now, the second part of the question, i.e. 2023, we need to, on top of what I just said now make people aware that it is not in our interest to vote in 2023 elections. It is not NOT in our interest to participate in 2022 elections, because what it simply does is to continue to empower the false constitution that has no seal of approval from the people collectively. We need to ensure that our people understand that we did not give the seal of approval to that constitution. And they need to, those who are telling us to go for the 2023 elections, need to come and explain to us at what point did we, the people collectively in that construction, come up and say we have voted for this constitution. They cannot find that document, and we need to. This I did a program. I did something on. I'm going to share with yourself, Dr. Adebayo and Jean, where I spoke in Yoruba, exposing the lie of that constitution. The constitution is not backed by any referendum. You see, the referendum is the only seal of approval that must mean that that constitution is ratified. What the military government should have done was to have made sure that they proposed the document. But what they did is they went much further. They proposed it, then they imposed it. And they removed the sovereignty of the people by imposing a constitution that we did not pass into law via a referendum. So that is another important point we need to tell our people. We must not participate in 2023 because the constitution is a fraud. And if we participate in that process, we are prolonging the imposition of a fraud on our lives. And we all know what that has done to all our lives collectively. We have been suffering collectively. A land where we have billions and billions in terms of value of mineral resources that would improve our lives. We are in a land where the people cannot feed themselves because terrorists are killing us. We're in a land where the government is going to buy resources that we have in our land. Bitumen, the second largest reserves of bitumen in the entire world. We are importing it. We are in a land where we don't have a refinery to fix to get the oil out to our people. They're having to go 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers away and build a refinery in Niger. We're in a land where in 2017 over 500 million barrels of oil was given to 50 different countries, including the UK, including Canada, including US, including Netherlands. We need to wake up. So my people, time is of the essence. We need awareness, and we need that awareness in our local languages. Number one, vigilante groups. We need vigilante groups. You have the right to life, you have the right to defend that life, and you have a right to self-determination. Very, very important. Number two, 2023 is not your priority because it would actually disempower you to be able to be in your own land. It will disempower you. That constitution is going to disempower you. And let me add one more thing. INEC is not independent. Let me say that again. Independent National Electoral Commission is not independent. It is only independent in name. The only freest and fairest elections we ever had was the election of MQ Abiola, the contest between MQ Abiola and Tofa, when Abiola won 8 million votes and Tofa came with 5 million. And of the 8 million, many of them also from the Fulanis and the houses voted for MQ Abiola. Until date, that is the only valid, free, fair, and peaceful elections we have ever had. Any elections post that has all been fraud. So that is one final thing to say on that. I hope that
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're right. But is it not also ironical that the only freest and fairest election in the history of Nigeria, I mean, did not even, I mean, after the results were not, I mean, the person who got the mandate was not even allowed to exercise this mandate. It's so ironical, right?
Very.
So which means that all the people who have been ruling us, came in through, rigged elections and rigged processes, right? So exactly. the only fairest or the fairest process could not even produce, could not even allow the president, the person to actually operate as the president, as the duly elected person. It's so ironical. So So I think somebody else wants to say something.
Yes.
And then just quickly before you say that, I also want to emphasize that we are not participating in the, we're not saying not to participate in the 2023. We're saying stop the 2023 election. So just make it clear. We want to stop the 2023 election. And how can we stop it? Is really, tapping into all of our contacts and letting them understand the impact or what is going to befall them if they go and if they continue with the 2023 election. So we need to educate people that if you go and you let 2023 happen, say bye-bye to your land and maybe majority of your people. And so with that being said, Mr. Faleti, please continue, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Citizen Y, thank you for eloquently stealing some of my mind where you are there. You almost left me speechless, but I still have a few crumbs in answer to the question, what should we do? Yeah. If we forget the mistakes of the past, we're very much likely to repeat them to our own detriment. The mistakes of the past, of the Southerners in general, and Yorubas in particular, is that we've been very, almost too much accommodating and conciliatory, to such an extent that the Fulanis have systematically integrated themselves into our society until they gain enough numbers to take a reins of power. In fact, that accommodating and conciliatory attitude of ours is what is making the global community more lackadaisical in paying attention to the agitation effort. We've been trying somehow to placate the global community that we are asking them, we are begging them, we are requesting them. No, we are not. We are just notifying them that we Southerners, we are self-determining. Yes, they've gotten so complacent that if they don't attend to us, we can't go anywhere. Yeah. And that's why they are silently dancing to the tune of the Fulani government that we are secessionists. So the Western world is able to turn around and send them arms. Of course, if they sell them arms to destroy us, they can continue to manipulate them to plunder our resources.
That's correct.
So we are letting the global community in general, the United Nations in particular, and in particular, as Secretary General, know that we're not looking to the United Nations for any favors. Okay, as Southerners and members of the civilized community of people, we are putting the United Nations, in particular, on notice, and the world powers in general, that we Southerners, we are the indigenous owners of the land of the South. We're not asking them for favors. There is a Yoruba group now that is called Ominira Yoruba 2022 that sent out a petition drive for the referendum. With now the underlying motto of that organization is that with or without referendum, we are going. And that's why the 2022 behind the name is relevant.
Yes.
So if the Gutierrezes of the world and the UKs of the world want to go ahead to say, oh yes, we won't pay them attention, we just suppress them. It's a joke. Yeah. They will see a bloodbath that makes Rwanda a street fight. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so very much. So we're actually we're going to round up now, because like I said, it's it's a short discussion forum today. So with the rounding up, I would like to ask Mr. Ogaraku, to kind of summarize for us his take on the discussion so far, followed by Mr. Paul I think, yeah, Mr. Paul will follow after Mr. Ogaraku, and then we can just, I mean, if anybody else wants to chime in after that.
Yeah, after that. Yeah,
but this is to round up. So, yes. Mr. Ogaraku.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's always good coming in this round table to affront our issues as the way they are. Nigeria is inconsequential state where things are done in opposite directions. There's no way in the world where constitutions are imposed on the people. Constitution is the framework of the people's relationship. It is wrong to have imposed the constitution to us with Decree 24. The same time we were going through this transition process, the same time Ghana was doing the same thing. J.J. Rawlings did not hand Constitution of Ghana to their people with a decree. He passed through a referendum, he passed through a national conference, and people chose what they want, and that's why the country is what it is today. Far better than us. They have a better electoral system, they have a better citizenship system. In Nigeria, very unfortunate. As I said when I was making my first presentation, sometimes most institutions has a framework where they look and make choices of words or choices of policies. And if in the Nigeria context, this institution, just like somebody rightly mentioned, the institution representing us has given the Secretary General this impression that the way forward is for integration. And he came in here just to mention that. Unfortunately, that was wrong. I support the position of Ayo and any other person who has spoken that a clear demand of withdrawal of this statement and a position of apology must be made. That's the way forward. I also added that it is necessary that we do what we are doing, and good number of people does the same. Because I said, when lies are repeated, it seems like truth until somebody says otherwise. And that's why what we are doing here is more than relevant. So I encourage every of us who have contributed, as powerful as that will be, from Fallet to AY to Tupe herself, and every other person who have done what they have done here, we really encourage you. What we should know is very clear. Unfortunately, what is happening in Nigeria is a strategy of all the instrument of colonization British has used wherever they are, including in all the Caribbeans. And I'm happy they are making a very, very strong effort now for reparation, and which definitely cannot be avoided, honestly. It has taken to a stage that made a point, and they know there will be a change of battle, and they have made it very clear if those demands are not met, the new battle will not govern them. That's the type of stand we should learn to have. So over here in Nigeria, it's unfortunate that instead of following international standard, we try to play on our own and thereby claiming to be ignorance of facts. It is wrong for the Secretary of the United Nations to come in to say that the way forward for peace is to integrate terrorists. While in all parts of the world, from America to Britain to any other part of the world, nobody has used that as a therapy. Why should Nigeria be an example? That's the question. So having said this, the indigenous citizens, the indigenous peoples of Nigeria has this inalienable right of self-determination. And that is what we are expressing. And honestly, with the fact that we did not make the constitution that they said that is governing us today, is also a very big battle for them to defend. Because Decree 24, which definitely imposed the constitution that was not ratified by the people, definitely makes it that it's not ours. We have a right, and we have done that. With the constitutional force major we did in 2020, December, sort of, it's still in effect because all the processes are still in place, activation of people's rights. And now, let's go back to this issue of election. What is this election? Election is a selection of people to continue to maintain those fraud constitution. And just like rightly said, every other good election we had there was sort of truncated. While they tried to, in fact, Yar'Adua was once asked in America when he was elected if his election was free and fair. He said, his election was fraud, that they are doing something about it. We know we have had a lot of fraudulent leaders that's coming from fraudulent elections. If we have had a leader in a true election, somebody should have thought right. And that's why they are putting up this type of institutions. Look at the type of people coming up for the so-called 2023 election. Recycling. So having said this, look at number of killings here and there, and one who has no courage to let us know that something wrong is happening. Fulanese, as it is known, has never said, this is my territory. They have always attached themselves to Hausa Fulani, or this way Fulani, or that way Fulani. Why can't they say this is my area? And then when they don't have an area, how can they have all the areas in Nigeria and have all the institutions in Nigeria when they don't have a place they will call theirs? That's a very big question to answer. So having said all this, I want to say that Nigerians has a right to ask for their self-determination, because what we have today was not made by us and is not serving us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate your very strong comments there. May I chip in, Dr. Modukwe, or you?
Yes. Quickly. No, after okay. Mr. Paul Iheme, because he's waiting.
Go ahead. Okay, that's
yes,
fine.
And then you can channel.
Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead, Mr. Paul. Thank you, Ogaraku, for your contributions. Yeah, Mr. Paul, if you're there, can you please
Yeah. Mr. Paul.
Is it there?
I think it's there, but I can't hear him I need him to
Are you there? Because I see he's still muted.
Yes.
I'm not sure, and then he does not have his
Mr. Paul, are you there?
Okay. Well, while we're
if time permits, Dr. Dupe, I'll say something. If time permits. Later on.
Oh yeah. Okay. So since we can, Mr. Paul is not responding. Can you go ahead, Citizen AY, and then we will let Baba Faleti conclude for us.
Yeah. Okay. Now I want to just add something here. Let me say something. I'll move that because I can't remove pin. Now I want to say something. Okay, Dr. Ngozi Orabueze wants to have a chat. Okay, Paul. Okay, Paul is back now. Let's. Okay, I think you're back. Okay. Do you want to?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead then. Yeah.
Go ahead, unmute and.
Yeah, unmute and talk to us, Dr. Paul and Mr. Paul. Okay, go ahead. We can hear you. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for all your comments. I just wanted to say that we are really in dire state.
Yes.
The killings have continued unabated, and my own is a suggestion that we intensify our.
You are muted. We can't hear you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
That we intensify our enlightenment of our people over there in the Middle Belt and Southern Nigeria. Because that's the only way, because these politicians, they are going out because to use governments to get the people interested in coming out to vote, even though they don't care for the people. And there's something else I observe about this buying of funds. They can't just be throwing 100 million into buying of funds. Something is really going on that you don't really, even some who you think are not really inconsequential, they're coming out across board in both parties and all that. So, but our talk is to talk to people that they should not even get involved in. They should, when each time they come for the campaign, they should tell them flatly that they are not interested in whatever they are doing, that they want a referendum, that they want self-determination, they want to be on that. This present government has shown that they are an ethnic, they are ethnic nationalists. It's what is going on.
Indeed.
So I think I am suggesting we intensify that effort toward, I mean, in my own little way, the few platforms I belong to, some back home, I do tell them, I do post some of the things we have here, over there, and some other discussion I do forward these things to them. Even how Nigeria came to into existence. There was one day I went to YouTube and I saw some videos. I don't know who could say, but it was very enlightenment for me on how Nigeria began, how the colonialists came to Nigeria, and how let me use this language, how they fell into bed with the Northerners and they conspired with them. So somebody may think that, oh, because they are mainly Christians and English, that they should align more with Southern Nigeria where you have enlightened people more. But the way they are romancing with these Northerners has continued unabated. So I believe our people need to be enlightened to know that we don't need to go to any election, that it must end now. If Nigeria must exist, we all must come to a round table to say, what kind of country do we want? How do we want to organize it? And that is, if you don't want self-determination, thank you.
Thank you very much. I really like the last statement you made there. Thank you so much. That's very impactful. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Modupe.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Paul. So go ahead, Citizen AY.
Okay. Now I have something that Dr. Orabueze wants to talk as well, but I'll chip in here, then maybe you can then. Is that okay, or how do you want to?
Yes, it's okay. I just have a question, but you can
fine.
go ahead.
So go.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'll go ahead.
No. Okay.
Did you say you have a question?
Go ahead,
Dr. Orabueze?
Yes, I just want. Yeah, just a quick question. I know we talked about countering what the United Nations officer has said about reintegration of repentant terrorists. So at least we can choose one Nigerian newspaper to deny, because I know privately, everybody in private discussions have been denouncing that statement, but we need this to be on the national, one or two of the national newspapers.
Yeah.
So before we conclude, I want us to know and move on with that publication. Thank you.
Okay. I think it's probably going to be more in terms of a discussion around that, probably after the meeting here, because we need to obviously. I mean, there are things that we'd have to look at as a group. So 1 second, please. As a group to say, okay, this is what we need. How do we? Because it's about the funding side of it. Ideally, all of us would like that to happen now. We'd like to get the funds in place. So we need to. Do we need contacts? Who knows about newspapers in Nigeria, and maybe that kind of thing. We would have to source some more things out. So I don't think it's something we can do.
We already have all of that in place.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll meet tomorrow and talk about that. We have that already in process.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Thank you. So that's. I
hope
hope that provides some answer, Dr. Orabueze. I hope that provides some answer to your question. Thank you very much. So now, what I want to say is this: we mustn't be silent. We have a rally coming up in the UK, June 12, and it's to do with June 12. We've chosen June 12 because we want the people to understand Nigeria is a fraud, and they denied the rightful winner of the elections his mandate, and thereby oppressing the people for millions of years and for thousands of years, and that is why we are justified in going for self-determination. So June 12 is happening in London at Trafalgar Square from 12 p.m. UK time. So we'll be doing that June 12. It happened last year. We're sticking to that date, and we want it to be the basis upon which we break up that contraption known as Nigeria. There are other protests in Brussels on the 14th and 15th. We'll give some more details about that. But what we're trying to do now, I want to take this opportunity. Anybody who is doing any protest anywhere around the world, it is important that all of the organizations are made aware of this. We need to devise a means, a way whereby that is sent around. We circulate this information so you can do it in your organization and you are running it. But what is important is every part of the community in the Middle Belt and South and Ambazonia were aware of it, so we can all get behind it. Right now, honestly, we cannot just be talking alone. We need to coordinate our efforts, and we need, the more we make that noise around the world, that every minute, every section, every part of the world, they are seeing this agitation. People are going, what is it again? But to make it go into their brain so that they understand that we are serious about going. So this is not about anybody saying taking over one organization or anything. We need you all. each organization, whatever protest you are putting forward, as long as it's about the self-determination of the Middle Belt and the South, we are in. And let us work towards that. So I really want us to do that. We need to coordinate our effort. Everything that we do should be focused on one goal: achieving our collective self-determination. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if I may add that anyone that knows of any organization that is working on the freedom movement should please ask them to send all protest information to freedomfromnigeria@gmail.com. freedomfromnigeria@gmail.com, because all Nigerian indigenous people must come together to rid ourselves of this Fulani menace and their backers. Everyone must come together, all Nigerian indigenous people, their groups, their organizations, the masses. We must take back our lands. We must restore our nations. Thank you.
Okay.
Very, very well said. So we'll end it with Baba Faleti. Please, can you go ahead and
Thank you, ma'am. I just want to remind us that we are at a very critical inflection point in this self-determination effort, and we need to wake up and smell the coffee. Now, in the wake of the upcoming 2023 election that they're crazily running around, and the irresponsible comment by Secretary General Guterres, we need to see the hypocrisy of the United Nations for what it is, and therefore not rely on the UN. That hypocrisy is very evident in these two examples. Slobodan Milosevic of Yugoslavia was a terrorist who the United Nations did not bother to reintegrate. Charles Taylor of Liberia was a terrorist who the United States, who the United Nations, under the auspices of the International Court of Criminal Court, did not reintegrate into the UN peacekeeping force. If they could not reintegrate those two named terrorists into the UN peacekeeping force, how can they turn around now to second the Nigerian government integrating the Boko Haram terrorists and ISWAP terrorists?
Fulani headsmen.
Yes, and the Fulani headsmen and the Miyetti Allahs into the Nigerian army, in addition to the British government labeling IPOB as a terrorist organization when Miyetti Allah is there funding and sponsoring. So once we see the hypocrisy of these so-called world leaders, we quickly realize that we've got our own fight to fight for our survival. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. And ladies and gentlemen, we actually and here
you are not clear. AY can end for us. You are not clear.
I'll bring it to an end here because the mic is very, very slow. So sorry about that.
Oh, I'm not clear. Oh, I'm sorry.
It wasn't. It was really
right.
Okay. Okay, we can hear you now. Is that okay? Let's try again. Go ahead. So wrap it up. You can go ahead. Just yeah, go ahead. Wrap it up. Oh.
Go ahead, AY.
Okay. No, we can't. Okay, don't worry.
Sorry. I'm using my phone, so I
yeah. Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, so I keep positioning it. If I move it a certain way,
yeah,
the signal, yes. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody.
Okay,
just wrap it up. But I just want to say something real quick. Yes, I support the request for Guterres.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Again, I will second that. Yes, definitely. We'll write a strong letter to UN Secretary Aguirre, and we're going to work out a plan. We need to actually publicize this thing, like Dr. Ngozi Orabuze said, and Dr. Kiari said. We need to really take action on that. But it's a twin track approach, like I said at the onset. That twin track approach needs us to make sure that the awareness in our communities is even stronger. We need to, every one of us who are in diaspora, we have a role to play. We have funds enough for us to be able to get in behind this struggle collectively. There are things that we need to do, and it needs us communicating on a daily basis, hourly, minute, second by second. I just got a text now, a video where people, they were putting guns in bags of rice, and they've taken them through the border and they opened it. So look, this is happening. If we are just talking, it's gone past talking. We need collective action, awareness in every community right now. What's going on? So when we hear, we pass the word, they can take action. Vigilante groups, we need to do that. Also, we also are encouraging our people, please do not focus on or listen to anything to do with 2023. We don't even want it to take place. Very much like Dr. Modupe said, we have to put and make the awareness of the people that our focus has to be our self-determination. So we will come back again, we will convene. Again, we urge you all, anybody in terms of protest, we need to work together. Unity is strength. Unity is strength. The Fulanis are united. That's why they're doing what they're doing to us. It is time we unite. When we unite, we become a formidable force. Read my
lips. But they also have Western backers.
Yes,
they do. The Fulanis have Western backers.
But we can also, there is quite a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do.
That.
So it's time that we collect our efforts together. So please, it's not about talk now. It's collective action and strategic moves. We'll talk about that, behind scenes. Listen, thank you very much for joining us.
Citizen AY, can you please also tell all groups to send the information to Freedom from Nigeria so that we can start coordinating?
We please, by all means, we send your information to Freedom from Nigeria to join us and at gmail.com. Also, if you prefer the Yoduduas, if you want to send it to Dudua Citizen AY, go ahead and send it to me. You have my contact, my WhatsApp number, +447399 580 Send it to there. We will put it across. But look, the objective here is for us to unite and work together. You see, our division is a very open goal for the Fulanis to walk into. Our division. But if we unite, there is no gap for them to enter. So we need to unite. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll bring it to a close from there, from here for tonight. Thank you very much for joining. I want to thank all our guests who spoke and everybody who participated and the comments. We will need to continue. I'll speak to Dr. Kiari later on. But like I said, for now, what's left for us to say is thank you very much. I thank you all for joining us. We'll be back again next week. Let's continue to speak for our self-determination. The only people that can free us is ourselves. None but ourselves can free our mind. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. That's what we must do. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye. Thank you much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you next week.
Thank you all very much. Until next week.